Hey, my wonderful, wonderful, beautiful people, a pleasant evening to you. So, beautiful people, I know that there are many, many people across the world who are looking forward to this beautiful, beautiful, fantastic day that we call Valentine's Day. So I'm going to do maybe a few videos on same. But for this particular video, I want to look at sort of a history in a sense of Valentine's Day, where it originated, where it comes from, what does it represent, to see the sort of transitioning or the metamorphosis of what it was and what it is in our present day. So, in looking at the history of Valentine's Day, it says Valentine's Day has a mix of ancient religious and commercial origins. Ancient Roman origins. Valentine's Day is to believe is believed to have roots in the Roman festival of Lupercalia, which was celebrated on February 15. It was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture, and included rituals meant to bring health and fertility. Interesting. Some historians believe that men and women were paired off in a kind of lottery during the festival. Saint Valentine and a Christian influence. The name Valentine comes from Saint Valentine, the identity, of the real Valentine or Valentine is unclear. There were multiple martyrs named Valentine in early Christianity. So it's very difficult for them to really pair it directly to, Valentine's Day, since you had quite a number of, Valentine in early Christianity. The most popular legend is about a priest named Valentine who lived in the 3rd century Rome. Emperor Claudius II banned marriage for young men, believing single men made better soldiers. Interesting. Valentine defied the emperor and secretly performed weddings. So we're seeing the lead up. He was arrested and executed on February 14. Oh, around 2070 or 270 AD. But before his death, he supposedly wrote a letter to his jailer's daughter and signed it from your Valentine. Wow, interesting. Medieval and romantic associations. So by the Middle Ages, Valentine's Day became associated with romance. Geoffrey Chaucer, in his 14th century poem Parliament of Fowls, wrote about February 14 as a day when birds choose their mates. Interesting. This idea helped spread the belief that Valentine's Day was linked to love and courtship. By the 15th century, people in Europe began exchanging love letters and tokens on February 14. The rise of Valentine's Day cards and gifts. By the 1700s, handwritten love notes were common in England. In the 1800s, printed Valentine's Day cards became popular, especially in Victorian England. In the 1800s, printed Valentines became popular, especially in Victorian England. In the 1900s, mass produced cards, chocolates, and flowers turned Valentine's Day into a major commercial holiday. Modern day Valentine's Day, which we celebrate. Today, Valentine's Day is a global celebration of love, romance, and affection. While it's mainly about couples, it has also expanded to include friends, family, and self love celebrations like Galentine's Day. Yeah, and would you say you're a fan of Valentine's Day, or do you think it is overrated? And I suppose I want people to understand. I had mentioned initially about, part of the origins of Valentine's Day is a ritual called Lupercalia. And to give you the history behind the whole Lupercalia, the Roman festival of Lupercalia, it was an ancient pagan fertility festival celebrated on February 15 in honor of Lupercus, a god, common God obviously, associated with fertility and protection, and Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture and nature. It was one of Rome's oldest and most unusual festivals, dating back to at least the 6th century BCE. The rituals of Lupercalia. Sacrifices at the cave of Lupercal. The festival began at Lupercal, a sacred cave on Palatine Hill, where legend says Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, were suckled by a she-wolf. I tell you, they always come at the women. Priests known as Luperci or Luperci would sacrifice goats, symbolizing fertility, and a dog for purification. So for symbolizing fertility, they would sacrifice goats, and for symbolizing purification, they would sacrifice a dog. So how important dogs are? Man's best friend. I'm not talking about the whole sacrifice. It's just the whole representation of it being for purification I'm talking about. Smearing of the blood and the Luperci or Luperci's run. The Luperci smeared the sacrificial blood on their foreheads and then wiped it off with wool soaked in milk. Ugh. Dressed only in goat's skin, they ran through the streets of Rome, slapping women with strips of goat hide called februa. Februa. Women willingly lined up to be touched, believing it would increase fertility and ensure a smooth pregnancy. The love lottery. Some accounts say that during Lupercalia, young men would draw the names of young women from a jar, pairing them up for the duration of the festival, sometimes leading to marriages. So Lupercalia's connection to Valentine's Day. The festival's focus on fertility and matchmaking may have influenced the later traditions of Valentine's Day. In 496 AD, Pope Gelasius the first, banned Lupercalia and replaced it with St. Valentine's Day on February 14, shifting the focus from pagan fertility rites to Christian ideals of love. Notwithstanding, I remember hearing a lot of people associating Valentine's Day with a lot of the, when they talk about the alphabet crew, and so on. And you hear a lot of twisted stories. There may be some truth to it. I have not really heard anything like that. I'm sure that some people have heard of maybe a number of lives being annihilated in the name of the whole Valentine's Day or Valentine's saga. But whatever it is, one of the things that I would encourage people to do is to look at the sort of renewal, the sort of restoration, and a sort of, maybe in a sense, blessing that has now, come upon this entire celebration or celebratory day, or the meaning of what Valentine's Day is. So we see somewhat of a history of where it is coming from, with the whole representation of goats and dogs for some sort of a sanctification or purification or whatever it may be, with the god of agriculture and the god of this, the common God we're talking about. And we see that sort of paganistic hypothesis that was attached to the Valentine's Day. Now we celebrate it in terms of love. And I just want to encourage people to use this day. For me, I am big on celebratory days that will pull families together, that will pull unity and harmony, try and mitigating a sense of division and a sort of agnostic and antagonistic behavior, where we can just make the world a better place. So if we can just appreciate the new transitioning and the new metamorphosis, this new quantum, not linear Valentine's Day. But I wish for everybody a great Valentine's Day. Guys, you know what to do. Read TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe and give me one of those lions for Valentine's Day, please.